welcome back to some more reviews. The Explorer of Horror here. And today we're going to be getting to the 1973 film, The Crazies. Which, this new setup is something new, trying it. This new setup I can actually pull up IMDb and it works, and somehow what I'm doing here works. It shouldn't, because I have it. What I'm trying to say is I have my phone on top of my laptop, configuring it somehow. I used the camera mount that I had for the phone somehow. It's mind-blowing to me that I pulled this off. I know it looks weird, but we'll have time to fix it as time goes on. It'll look a little bit better the more I can get used to using it this way. But today we're talking about The Crazies. This is the Arrow Blu-ray release, really cheap release, and it looks great. First time I seen this movie was on YouTube about 4 years ago, and my review for this now is my opinion just gonna be way different than what it used to be. I'm actually glad I didn't review this movie back in the day, because my review is probably gonna be a rant. I'm pretty sure I've talked about the remake at some point on this channel. I really, really thoroughly enjoy that remake. I think the remake is a lot of fun, but I think the remake is also very scary in its own right. This is one of those very few cases where the original and the remake both work. It doesn't happen all the time. It's very rare. It's very rare that a remake can be that good. And I think the original The Crazies has a good remake to it. But I might redo that review for the remake here soon. We'll see. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to that review or not. We'll see as it goes. You guys know me, I review shit at random on here, so we'll see how that goes. But this film, directed by George A. Romero, and this came out, I don't know if it was after Night of the Living Dead. I want to say he did a movie in between Night of the Living Dead and this. It might have been There's Always Vanilla, which I haven't seen that movie. I haven't really heard the best things about it. That might have came out before this. There's Always Vanilla. Never seen it. I've heard it's okay at best, like a mediocre type movie. But The Crazies story of this one, you have a small you have a small town where a virus gets out. Supposedly the virus leaks into the water supply of this town, and people begin to show symptoms and act nuts, no pun intended, crazy. They start killing people at random, and before you know it, the military arrives, and the military is trying to regain control of the situation. It keeps getting worse and worse. We have a group of survivors trying to get through this. Eventually the military is getting to a point to where if they see you, they'll take you in and arrest you, or they'll kill you, depending on what's going on. And the movie is a giant escape movie. We have a couple characters, these firefighters. One of them is a soon-to-be father. His wife is pregnant, or it's his girlfriend. I don't know if it's wife or girlfriend. But she's pregnant, and they all get quarantined, and they escape their quarantine. They're trying to figure out how they're going to escape this military zone where this virus is now running rampant, and we see bits and pieces of the virus and what it does to people. And that's essentially what The Crazies is about. And like I said, I seen this movie about 4 years ago, and I was not a fan at all. I thought it didn't work. I thought it had zero suspense. I thought it was boring. I thought it was ineffective. I thought there was a lot to be desired from this movie. I don't know what I was smoking back then. I don't know what. I must have been in a bad mood or something, because rewatching this, first of all, in way better quality. The version I seen on YouTube was like 360p and just looking real rough. It was very hard to see this movie. So watching it on Blu-ray was a huge jump up in quality, and that did work. There was a lot more detail to it. And I think what it is I really admire what Romero was able to do with this movie. Romero, he is like the king of low budget filmmaking to me. I know a lot of people put more other directors on top and say, oh no, these other directors are better. I think Romero is the king of it, because rewatching this, it blew me away with how good this movie was. It's an excellent low-budget horror film. I don't know why I was so harsh on it. I think what it is I seen the remake, and the remake is a lot more of a focus on the infected people, the virus. It's a lot more trying to be in that zombie vein, where it's the horror of the situation is the infection, and the background horror is the military being involved. This movie is opposite. This movie is a lot more about the paranoia, the military being involved. We don't know if they're against us or if they're trying to help us. Seeing a lot more of the behind the scenes of people talking about, what do we do now? Do we drop a nuke? You know, do we blow up the town? What do we do? And you really get a sense of the paranoia and the constant arguing, the constant yelling. Can definitely see where Day of the Dead gets its vibes from, where there's this constant tension between everybody in the movie throughout the entire film. It's a very hysteria-filled movie, and it's not really about the people that are infected, the crazies. It's not really about them. And I wasn't a big fan of that. I was like, why would you make a movie and not really focus on the crazy? It's a cool idea of these people going nuts, losing their minds, and killing everybody in sight. Like, it's a crazy idea, no pun intended. I'm going to say that about 1,000 times in this video. It's a really cool idea for a virus that makes you lose your mind and just kill at random. And I thought it was disappointing because I was like, the very few scenes that we saw of this virus and what it does to people, it was very effective. There's a scene where this old lady's like knitting this blanket or whatever, just gets up and stabs somebody, smiling like it's just cheery to her, sits back down and starts knitting again. That's definitely a creepy scene. Or just people walking through with smiles on their face as they're just stabbing people and killing people, and then there's, you know, somebody in the background, the broom brushing the ground because they lost their mind. And I like a bit in this one more of the psychological aspect, where certain characters are infected with the virus and you see it take its stages. And I like how it just starts out as people just kind of, you know, second guessing themselves and being like, yeah, does everything feel all right? Is everything all right with you? Like, just a lot of people in their own heads for the early stages of the virus. And I thought it added a creep factor to it. And it definitely, this time around, it worked a lot better this time. I don't know what it was. I might have been in a bad mood. I think I was expecting a movie with a bunch of infected people, and it's not really about that. Hell, there's even points in the movie where you're wondering, is there even a virus, or is it just paranoia? Is it hysteria? Is it mass hysteria, or is there really a virus? Because you don't see a whole lot of the infected people. We really see this military go through and just shoot people that are defending themselves. I'm not going with you. Old man blowing away people with a shotgun, he gets killed. But then you find out the people in the house are all infected, so, you know, you get a couple of creepy scenes with that. There's a really weird, creepy incest scene between the actress from Shivers, which we'll be getting to a little bit later, and also from the father, who is the actor from Day of the Dead, who played Frankenstein in that. So it's pretty cool seeing them in an early role here. There's a really weird incest type of scene between them. That was really uncomfortable and really weird. And it's just, the very few times you see the infected, it is creepy. It is eerie. And I kind of wonder what is better. Because in the remake, it's a lot more just sudden, like you start feeling sick, you have a fever, you look sick, you look fucked up, and you just start killing people. Here, it's a psychological thing. Most of these people look like normal people. They're just out of it. They're out of their minds. And you actually find out that even if the virus, like let's say someone gets the virus, you're pretty much dead. Even if you don't kill anybody as a crazy person, you're going to die eventually from this virus anyways. So they really sell the danger factor of this virus, which you end up finding out is actually a bioweapon that they accidentally accidentally crashed the plane. This bioweapon leaked out into this town. You also have the actor from Dawn of the Dead, the guy who's on the TV with the eye patch. I don't remember his name. Maybe he's on the cast list here. I actually have IMDb now, so I might want to use this. That wouldn't be a bad idea, Nate. Richard France, who was also in Dawn of the Dead. He was the guy in Dawn of the Dead who's like, dummies! 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 They must be killed on sight! That guy's in this movie playing pretty much the only guy who knows about this virus. And even he is getting mad and frustrated and pissed off because his military group fucked up and they think they have a hand on things and they don't. This virus is running rampant and people are killing each other, and the military is killing more people than the infected people are. So it's a lot of commentary on hysteria, military not always being in charge, military not always caring about you, doing whatever it takes to make sure this shit doesn't leak out anymore. It's a lot of just insanity, tension. I realize this movie is very tension filled. The remake is a lot more low key. This one just, there's tension the whole way through, and I really appreciate the fact that even though this is a very, 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 very low budget movie, just the usage of different environments and the shooting of certain scenes, I thought certain sequences are very well done. There's a helicopter sequence where they have to shoot down a helicopter. That was pretty cool. And really just looking at what they had to do with this low budget, what they were able to do, rather. Just helicopters exploding, military taking over this town, shot on location, real town, real forest, real explosions, real usage of probably not live rounds, but blanks, and just all the extras they use, the scenes in the school, just very claustrophobic. It just, the way that Romero utilizes low budget, I think I'll say that to the end of the days, man. I think I'll say that till I'm in the fucking grave. I think Romero is just one of the best directors to utilize a low budget. Just the scope of his movies. It's incredible the things he did in film. It's very inspirational, and it will continue to be that. I think it will forever be inspirational. I don't think films with the Crazies and Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and Creepshow and Night of the Living Dead, these movies will never get old. They will never go away. They are just pieces of art and cinema. And I can't believe, I'm ashamed of myself that I used to not be a fan of this movie. I guess the only thing I got is, like I said, I was expecting a virus movie with zombies, and that's not what I got. And I don't really consider The Crazies a zombie movie anyways, the remake. I think it's more of a virus infection movie. This one, I think, is a lot more about hysteria, madness, the government being the fear factor in this. Do we trust them? Do we not? How far are they willing to go to keep things under control? And how many times are they going to lie to the people? How many times are they going to go against even the mayor of the city, of the town? Just a lot of there's a lot of good stuff in here, man. It's a very well made movie. It's claustrophobic. It's people yelling at each other constantly. It's chaos. It's just a constant stress type of movie. You're under stress when you're watching it. Just people running around and losing their minds. Just the hysteria factor really got me. The scenes of the Crazies, of the infected people, are very weird and creepy and uncanny and just unsettling. I didn't mind our leads. They did pretty well. The lead guy, his friend, I think his friend, Harold Wayne Jones, as Clank. I think he's my favorite character from this movie. I thought that actor did a good job playing him. You know, I don't mind the idea of, like, the lead guy used to be a Green Beret in Vietnam, and he's kind of against violence, and he doesn't want to kill anybody, and the minute he does kill somebody, he ends up finding out they weren't infected, so he kind of throws the gun away and is disgusted that the one time he did lose it and kill someone, it was an innocent, most likely. Because these people are running up on them, he shoots one of them, and the guy that gets him is like, oh, hey, how's it going, man? So the guy he killed wasn't even infected, most likely. Most likely. Maybe he was and I just didn't catch it, but most likely he wasn't. Yeah, I didn't mind their leads. The acting's decent. The acting, I'm not going to sit here and say it's award-winning. I mean, most of these people were probably extras and locals, and, you know, it's not like it's an incredible acting, but it wasn't too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You could argue the effects are pretty cheap. It's bright red blood, looking like red paint. Someone gets shot in the head. It looks like somebody just took red paint and splattered it on someone's head. I don't mind that stuff. That stuff is a lot of fun to me. So I don't personally care about that. I think just the fact that they were able to do some of these things in this movie were incredible. And even the things they couldn't do, like the airplane crashing, you don't see that in this movie. You don't see it in the remake, but you get a pretty cool shot of them in the water, and below them is this giant plane. Here, it's a lot more like we hear it explained. It crashed. There's a virus on board. Found out it was a bioweapon. The opening scene, it's better than the remake. The opening scene with the fire, the house fire, that's a creepy scene. I kind of wonder if they just went out and shot footage of a real house on fire. Like, just, hey, firefighters, can we shoot that footage of that house on fire? It looks like they went up to a real house on fire. I mean, there's no way that was just a built house and they just upped it in flames. I don't know. Maybe it was a prop house or something. I don't know, but it looked real. In that whole scene of him just looking at his kids, they got this guy who killed his wife and his kids are there, looks at them, walks away, lights the house on fire. And the opening credits is just the house burning down. It's a very hard-hitting and impactful opening that I thought was 10 times creepier in this than it was in the remake. I must admit, it was just very haunting opening. I know this movie's alternate title was... Damn it, what was the... Trixie. They called it Trixie, I think is what the alternate title was. Or Operation Trixie, or I think it was called, they call it Trixie. Maybe. We'll see. Just throwing it out there. But The Crazies is a great title. I like that title much better. The creepy look of the military men in these white hazmat suits going around with flamethrowers and machine guns killing people. It's one of the first movies to really tackle the paranoia and the scares being about people being pushed to their limits and the edge. You know, there's a scene where a priest, he just lights himself on fire, which is eerily similar to like the Vietnam fires that were happening where the monks were setting themselves on fire. I mean, when I seen that scene in this movie, that again was very haunting, and it was just like eerily a mirror of what was going on in Vietnam. You see a lot of Vietnam influence in this movie. You see a lot of what was going on in the culture in this film. Again, Romero is a master of horror. Romero is not just a master of horror, he's a master of cinema. And I think this is a pure gold standard showcase of why he is one of the kings of horror and one of the kings of cinema. I think he does an excellent job directing this movie. All the sequences are very well directed and very chaotic. It's got intense tone to it. It's got really good, intense scenes. It's creepy, it's effective, and it's a solid movie. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The Crazies from 1973, 4 out of 5. It's an excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go out there and check it out. It's wonderful. I think it's on Tubi for free, but this Blu-ray is very, very cheap, and if you can get your hands on it, I recommend it. It's a very cheap Blu-ray, lots of features. The video and audio quality looked great, and I thought it worked very well. This movie, it's excellent. Really enjoy it. Total U-turn with my thoughts on this movie, because before, if I would do a rant on it, I would call it boring and ineffective, and I don't know, I was just pissed that day or something. I just wasn't in a good mood at all. But anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for watching the review. If you guys have seen The Crazies, comment your guys' thoughts on it down below in the comment section. But anyways, y'all, Thank you guys so much for watching the review. Hope you guys enjoyed. The Explorer 4 is out, and we'll see you guys on the next review. See you guys later. Peace.